Alright, so, hopefully unlike last time, it seems that, it seems the stream is a lot more stable than it was last time. The last time I streamed last month, the internet was just cruddy that day. So, unfortunately, I didn't get to do what was originally planned. And admittedly, it was just because last month had nothing, because last month's stream was essentially what this month is going to be. So, yeah, I also obviously want to bring up the fact that, like, we've hit the mile, I guess we hit a milestone of doing 50 streams, or we've had, unfortunately, it's not been consecutive. Consecutive is that, I don't know if that's the word I wanted to use, but like, unfortunately, it's not been the case of where like we've been, well, it's not been the case of where we've been doing it constantly, though. I think it's been 2 years. I think for the past 2 years I've been streaming once per month. So, in that, because again, 2022 was also supposed to be that, but then because obviously at the time it was mainly Zrykin and I. Oh, it was mainly just, it was because in 2022 I had to work around with when Zrykin wanted to like stream, so, which obviously was not a problem and such. It was just then like when he wanted to pursue doing it on his own, that's where I had to get where I had to become creative in terms of like, oh well, how do I want to do. I guess it was where like I had to kind of like figure out like, oh, how do I maintain my own stream and such, while, because for the most part, even though Zrykin didn't want to, to his dismay is what I want to say, I made Zrykin lead the majority of our streams together, because he was the one that really wanted to do the idea. He was the one that finally like pushed me to like actually, not push me, but like, you know, the two of us have been wanting, or like back in 2022, we both were wanting to stream, or like just try it out. I've been wanting to do it since like the second year of the channel, but then like I brought up in 2022, as we've said this before in our last stream, but like I genuinely forgot that the reason why we didn't do it originally was because at the time YouTube had a certain criteria that people needed to meet in order to be able to live stream, and obviously I did not. I was not at that criteria back in 2016. I think I even though they decreased the criteria, because it was basically the same criteria as when, of like basically getting monetized on the channel. So just to be safe, I think I just waited until then to be able to like actually pursue like, or to like try it out. And yeah, so cuz there was like a month, Zarkin and I had a month gap. I can look. But it's always kind of annoying when YouTube in the live tab always kind of shows the video as if it's just like done. So we had a gap between the summer, I think. Yeah. So I think June and July we didn't get to stream. But for the most part, I think basically besides those 2 months, since 2022, I have been streaming constantly. And obviously, some people are going to probably argue, well, this month is missing, or like this month is missing. Well, that's just because you're looking at the actual live stream tab, which is not really the official, um, like, a sorting. My official sorting is the playlist because certain streams show up as videos, and others are just unlisted. So there was, I think, technically, I think we are at two. Like, I mean, two of them you can argue about because they were like in flubbing the stream, or like the stream just wasn't working on his end, even though I told him multiple times to just continue on. He proceeded to just stop and start over again. So, yeah, you can argue that those two. So then, like that, I mean, that'll technically make this one 49. Because at first, I thought I got the title wrong from the last one, but I just double checked yesterday and I was right. So I don't need to do the thing of like, sorry guys, this one's actually stream 50. But if you want to be technical, it could also be like stream 49. But I'm gonna say this one's 51. So that'll mean we'll only get to 57 by the end of the year. Which is definitely a weird way of going out. Anyways, let's go one more minute and then we'll start. I don't know what left I can talk about in a minute, but yeah. I guess in this minute I can just check it again. Yeah, everything again. Luckily, things seem to be going fine this stream. Because again, the only thing, obviously, for the most part, as long as I get the like the stream's current bit rate is lower, I think that's fine. But like again, last month's I kept having to turn the camera on and off. I had to make sure that this is actually, I had to do that. So it's actually active. But anyways, I think we can actually start now. So today's stream, we will be taking a look at my recently acquired Super Buy box, or the stuff within it and such, because Zykin didn't tell me that the dates got extended from 15 to 25 to, not 15 to 25. It was like 25 to 35 to 30 to 45. So this is for next month's stuff. Another warning. I mean, I don't know. The stream looks fine right now. Oh no, I will continue. Okay, yeah. Health, the it's back to how it is. But this is for next month's stuff. I don't know if this will be first or 2nd. But we will be covering the Bandai China original line for Zero's 15th. We have the Zero original brace alongside its 2 sets, only correlating sets of the what they call the ultralight coins. So we have the Zero set and then we have the Arc set. I don't think these ones require batteries. Hello, BLK Independent Hero. So as you can see, I should probably show the box off. Unfortunately, mine came in really in a rough manner. And I assume it was inspected already because this side is like heavily taped. Honestly, BLK, you're the first person in like 2 months to comment in a stream, so I appreciate that. So yeah, I'll get to that. But let me change my chat first to live chat, so then I don't, because unfortunately when I do watch my playback, I do realize I do miss out on reading certain comments. So luckily the stream is fine. So if you're fine, I'll shorten your name to BLK. But so BLK, what this toy is that since Blazar, Bandai China put out, like, I think for like registration, they put out this they put out, like, again, for registration, they like had to officially document that they were going to produce toys in association with Zero's 15th anniversary, or that people kind of figured that was for Zero's 15th anniversary. And this is essentially the Plasma Zerolet that just happens to be able to read ultra metals or things that are resembling of ultra metals. So again, we technically knew about this toy since 2023. It just finally got released during ARC. So as you can see here, here's the strap. And then all the stuff I'm covering today I got from Superbuy, which is a Chinese proxy service. So then you can order from mainly Taobao, but like also like 2 other Chinese services that allow, or it's, if you're not familiar, it's kind of like the Bai of China. It's like Bai before like Chinese products and such. So yeah, I unfortunately I put away the orb ring because I'm done filming the Ultra Replica orb ring. I could have taken out the Plasma Zerolet, but I didn't. But I know for sure this is larger than the Plasma Zerolet and such. So, but here we have the Ultraman Zero Ultralight coin with the Zero Mantle. So as you can see, the Ultralight coins are just... they're Ultra Metal-esque. And I do have Ultra Metals next to me, so for those curious, luckily they're not the same build. They are different. They're just the same concept. They honestly, they're kind of more like yokai medals in terms of actually having the name of the character on the side. And I will get my Zet stuff. Oh, I probably shouldn't be putting that. No. So for those interested, do I have an Ultra Access card on me? Okay, I do. Be okay. I'll say I'll go over the prices gradually, but I think this thing by itself was $20, and then these were, I will say, $5 a piece, or 4 in total. I don't remember if these were $3 a piece, like $2 to $3 a piece. These were cheap, which is why I'm saying they're. I think this in total, these two cost between $4 to $8. But so if we were to try to use an ultralight coin, it does slot in, but obviously it doesn't work. And then if we were to use this, nothing reads. Because it's just because these are the Chinese Zet, or like Ultra Metal line has different NFC tags compared to so if we were to try to use this, it can't sense these two. Wait. My bad about that. I got intruded. Or I thought I was gonna get intruded. So I don't think my mic picked that up. So I just wanted to restate that. um yeah, I think I'll probably open I'll open these sets. We'll cover them all together. But yeah, basically I just thought because if anyone was going to bother asking, I'm I'm not gonna pick up Omega just because nothing against Omega. I think for what they're doing with the Omega meteors and just the whole concept around Omega is pretty cool. It's just that I think with Ultraman I feel kind of burnt out in terms of just trying to like cover the series fairly. Or I'm kind of burnt out on trying to like cover, yeah, mainly just trying to cover the series in like a fair way and such without just people already like projecting like, oh well, like this series is already going to be like a failure, or like, like this series is like, like this line is already like not good because there's no more like, why can't I not get this? There's no more like voice announcers, so like everything like Ultraman is now not good anymore, kind of thing. This is, oh, there's no tape. Is it not? Oh, there is tape. No, there's not. Then what's holding this in? Oh, it's in the inside. Well, then I'm just gonna open it like this then. Alright, that's really interesting. There's tape here. Alright. That is interesting. I do find it funny these are kind of packed similarly to... I mean, they're not packed similarly to Ultra Metals, because Ultra Metals were 3-packs, and their packaging was like half the size, but like obviously, like as I kind of stated before, like Arc was gonna be the last series entirely on the channel that was gonna get covered. So like I'd rather stay committed to that idea. And like, the Blazer toy line again, like it was not good, but like I think what bothered me more was just how, like, again, as someone that has not watched since Taiga, like I've seen all this like stuff Blazer has done in terms of like innovativeness and such, and I just think it kind of sucks that people are just constantly discrediting that. And like it's kind of the same with Arc, I guess, in a sense of where like, I mean, at least like people have already admitted that, like, I mean, people, at least with Arc, people were just kind of just saying that like it just wasn't for them and such, so like there was less of like a like Arc I didn't feel as bad of like having collected, but then Blazer was just not good. So here is normal 0. All the backs are the same. They're all 114 or like 114, which isn't a thing on these ones. Also, it's interesting that both 0 and Z are white, but everyone else has color. So this is Z Alpha Edge. Should actually not cover the name. Then we have Saga. And then Belial. At first, I thought this 0 was supposed to be Lunar Miracle 0, or is it Luna Miracle 0? Yeah, Luna Miracle 0. But it's just normal 0. But speaking of elements, not elements, but here's Arc. And then Soulless Armor. And then we have, Wind Armor. And then, this is a first for me. I want to repeat this a lot, but here's Lucian. Because I never bothered to pick up his Arc Cube because I didn't need it. Because I went through the effort, because I already have the Gashapon version, so I didn't need it. What way is the strap supposed to go? Because see, this is interesting because I've always seen these straps when like they did the like Ultra Henshin device sets. Like I always see this strap with like the Mebius brace, or like I think the whatever ogles, like any wrist strap like that was released in those devices or in those sets. I always remember, like, I always thought these were interesting. So now to actually have one is pretty interesting. So oh man. I think this may not actually fit me. Oh no. Barely. Because the thing about these straps, obviously, they're meant for like kids. So they're not like the like modern like straps they will use where it's actually like just one point and then like, in the middle. But yeah, here it is. It definitely is a lot bigger than I was expecting, but yeah, so I fit the last notch, which is kind of funny. But other than that, we don't technically need the strap, and batteries are already installed, so we'll bring the mic closer. All right. Unfortunately, we might have to install our own batteries. Yeah, okay, we're gonna have to install our own. That's unfortunate. Let's just try again. Yeah. We have to install our own cell batteries. Because again, like, I just would rather prefer to, like, sparingly having to... I mean, oh man, what the heck? One of these already exploded. Look at that. Why? Man. Okay, these ones look fine, but I don't know. It is kind of quiet. So the speaker is just up here. So that might have been too loud, but if you were to do it by itself, so you just get the activation sound. So let's insert an ultralight coin. Now we have the D flasher standby. Alright. And then typical Ultraman fashion, press it again. For the Imurium slash. Or. No, yeah. Does it have to press it? Okay, yeah. So a button has to at least be pressed. But slush? No. Yeah, isn't it Imurium? It might be the wide zero shot. Anyways, here's Zet original. Here's the Zetzium Coulson. This doesn't lock in. Alright, yeah, so you just have to lightly press it in. Like, obviously, it's definitely cheap in a sense of where this is not covered up. I kind of wish it was. But, you know, the translucent blue is neat. But, this doesn't correlate to whenever, like, so this doesn't correlate whether or not a medal is in or a coin is in. You can just keep closing it in and out whenever you want. But, let's put in the normal 0 coin. Yeah, so this one's the Ultra Zero Mantle version. Yeah, honestly, pulling coins out isn't too bad. So here's Alpha Edge. might get intruded. I think that's the Zetzium Coulson again. Obviously, you have to swipe it out fast enough so then you don't block the speaker. But up next, Saga. What the heck? Why? I probably don't remember that because I've seen a lot of videos on this, but like, you couldn't just use the Saga Maximum? And again, this is at the period where they just randomly switched to that grunt for Saga, which I don't know why. I can't pull out my ultimate brace because that's put away. So, from this set, Belial. There we have the Zetzium Coulson. Now for Arc. That's my first one to not have Arc's grunt in it. I mean, that's just because the Meteor isn't out yet. Soulless Armor. You were at the pull through. Luna Armor? I don't remember the attacks for these ones. Did I? What? It should be my nail. Last but not least, Wu Tian. Okay. Okay, so like he has a generic grunt, but like all of his sounds are the same as Arc, which makes sense. Now, if we were to put in, I know, I'm sorry, but if we were to put in a Japanese Ultra Metal, it won't work. Also, these ones definitely are a lot easier putting in because these ones are a lot more thicker. Yeah, these ones are definitely easier putting in as opposed to the Ultra Metals are definitely easier. But as you can see, they don't work at all. But I think if you do own a Chinese Z-Riser, all of these will read out as all the coins will read out as Ultraman Taro. But the thing is that about I shouldn't do this. The thing about these sets is that so I think for what we have, it's cool. However, obviously in typical fashion, of course there is more to it. Like, of course there's more ultras programmed to this toy. Just that for some reason they never bothered putting out the rest. And it's kind of bothersome because, like, there's clearly this thing clearly has a full-edged reader as any typical Ultraman toy. Like, yeah, it's basically the same stuff that we would typically get with like any other Ultraman transformation device. It's again, I will say it's sound wise, it's more like the D Flasher. But like obviously not literally not because of this. It's just funny it uses the D Flasher standby. Honestly, it's even more weird that I honestly would have expected a Blazar set too. Like, I get why they chose who they chose, but like honestly, I think they could have done a like entire Zet set with like Beta Smash, Gamma Future, Delta Rise Claw, and then I don't know if Deathsium Rise Claw is programmed in. But like I mean, I wouldn't even say that's a good opportunity to put in Blazar. I don't know if the Galaxy armor was programmed in either. But if it was, I think doing a Zet set with his other three forms and then the Galaxy armor I think would have been perfect. But unfortunately, they never bothered continuing this line. So that's why I'm just going to cover what is out, because like I was kind of hoping that there would have been more. It just doesn't seem to be the case. I'm just checking on stuff. So but as I said before, that is really the only Ultraman thing we're taking a look at, because we have the next thing I got, which is for August. We have from Armor Hero the Flame Dragon Summoner. So this is the 2024 release of this transformation device, obviously in commemoration of the 15th anniversary of the franchise, and because this is one of the very few like because for the most part with the first series, they will tend to just only, so for the first series, what they wanted to do was that they wanted to re-release the items or the transformation items as close to the show as possible, because the original release, while it did look show accurate, its sounds were not show accurate. And then for next month, they did re-release it when they were doing their recap series, but it was entirely red for some reason, and it was partially show accurate in terms of sounds, except for the actual announcement. So this release they finally got it to be show accurate, as close as they wanted to. Obviously there is a CSM adjacent version that actually comes with all 5. That is actually of all 5. Obviously in this case it's only just Dragon Man Summoner, which is why it's just the Flame Dragon Summoner. But honestly, the box is really sleek, because again, like, this is not a premium item. This is essentially a deluxe item, like in vein of this. But there we have the back, and then obviously, as you can see from here, you split it. There's supposed to be a sticker here as a seal, and you're supposed to cut that sticker in half, but mine didn't come with it, and I kind of knew that from the beginning when I got the pictures of this back in March. So you open this up like so. Let's do that again. So you open this up like that, and then we get this really nice, like, cloud box art and such. And I believe this is magnets. I'm pretty sure this is connecting through magnets. So as you can see from here, we have the Flame Dragon Summoner alongside the 2 pendants, or the 2 variants of the pendants. We have a plastic one. These are kind of hard to take out. You kind of have to push in the styrofoam, unfortunately, and then just kind of, well, don't dig your nail in, but so this one you have to kind of dig in for, but this is the pendant in line with how the original release was, because again, it was just red plastic with the dragon tampographed, but now it's actually in its show accurate silver. But if you want it to be more, this one we can just simply do that. If you want it to be more premium, we have a die-cast version of it. The only drawback is that the dragon is not painted. But if you want proof that it's die-cast, obviously, here. There. That's your proof that these things are different. Before then, let's get the Dragon Summoner out. So I did test this out before, just because again, it was already open to begin with. So here we have the Dragon Summoner. It's nicely, I really like the molding on this thing. I really like the texture, like the rough textures of it, and like just the silver looks really nice. Like the paint on this thing is really sharp. This is the sound button, or this button is for sounds. This button is to push this thing, or is just a spring on and off. And if you turn it around, this thing is essentially a phone. So we have all the. I want to apologize about this because I think this was during the Flash Prism written review when I was writing that. So with copyright stuff, I think it was like for the past 2 years now. I just refer to this stuff as a trans stamp, and I finally decided to actually do research on what that meant because I just heard it in a review once, and I was like, oh, okay, so that must be the term in reference to like copyright stuff. No. It's not anything offensive, luckily, but it's like, oh, first of all, it's not called a trans stamp, it's called a trans stamp. It's referring to like tattoos on your lower back. So I want to apologize about my misuse of that term, and will no longer be using that term because it doesn't exist. Or like a trans stamp doesn't exist. A trans stamp does, but not a trans stamp. Because that's literally just, again, like a trans stamp is practically a pride on it's a pride tattoo. So I want to apologize for using trans stamp, and we'll just go back and just saying these are just copyright. This is just copyright. But yeah, as you can see from here, the battery cover is the phone screen, while the speakers are the keypad, and it's pretty funny. Again, you have to lift this entire section up, and I accidentally threw the contents. Again, you're getting the unboxing of this in 2 months, 2 to 3 months from now. So, and this is getting reviewed in August, so this is the contents, or this is the instructions. So, fire armor. So this is the rest of the contents. We have a beaded necklace with the wrist strap, and then we have 5 cards. 2 of them are for the finishers. I will actually get the names down in the review. Again, this is the only series I've watched in full so far, but there's the backs for there. They don't literally pull out cards. They literally just throw out projection of the cards like that, like so, and then that's why these show up. So this is for the sword. This is the sword finisher, and then this is for the punch, because these are back to back. And then we get 3 Shadow Beast cards as bonuses. I would say these are random. This is a random selection, but I know this one for sure was like from like one of the last batch of episodes. So I think these 2 might be also. It's been a while. I've binged the show in January, and then the backs like such. Again, this is the only one I have. Not have, but like the closest one. Here's a comparison with the Shine card. And then this is a comparison with the Lava cards that came with the Armor Action Blind Box series. So, again, in the show, these are a lot larger, and I think Emperor Hero's belt, the like CSM adjacent one, does come with the show accurate size cards, because obviously after they defeat the Shadow Beast, they obtain their card because it becomes an essence. Or they obtain their card, they hold it alongside up to their belt, and then like they absorb their essence. So yeah, the cards will be the only thing that I'll keep in there, but everything else, same with the instructions. Because really, at the bottom, it's just the production date and just standard, I think, like Chinese toy standard stuff. So I think for the most part, these typically are like just individual inserts, as opposed to what Bandai China did with the Gattack Zector and such. Or not that, but like the Chinese releases for the Rider stuff, where they have to put on plaster stickers over it. Oh, okay, I can't put it around my neck at least, so I think it definitely is a bit too small. Too small, but like it is really close to my neck, which I think is supposed to be the case. But because I was gonna put it over my head, but I can't because it's not wide enough. Huh? What happened? Huh. But I think what I'm more concerned about this is that because you're supposed to be able to pull this, you're supposed to pull this off of here. But the thing is that obviously this kind of necklace is known to fall apart. So like to try to pull it from here, it's not easy. So I think because again, I think most people just kind of leave it on, but that's not accurate. But okay. I was like, where is that going? But you can also use the die cast one. I really wish this just came with like a rope or like a string. But because this one definitely is more for. This one's definitely more for just wearing as opposed to like actually playing. You can play with it obviously, but like you can't. But like it would. I feel like it would have at least given you the option to pull it off, but you can't. So that's why I'm saying this one I think is more ideally for just wearing around. Though obviously I would not suggest for you to wear it on this kind of necklace because of its die cast. You definitely need like string and such. So that is that. Just again, I mean, I guess it would be easy to replace if you end up breaking this, but anyways, here's the wrist strap, which again is not technically accurate, but I mean, again, it's the cheapest method. So because again, the strap is supposed to be silver, but you know, it's just cheaper to just use this. And I'm struggling with trying to wrap this in. Okay, so like the issue is that this is too wide, so you need to like kind of squish it in, and then pull it excessively. Oh gosh, yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, this strap is kind of like one of those that it'll eventually kind of fray. This is basically a backpack strap. So, oh wait, did I do this wrong? Yeah, I think I did this wrong. Because, oh gosh, I don't like that. I think what you're supposed to do is, okay, yeah, you're supposed to strap it like this. I think. Yeah, you're supposed to strap it in like that. Okay. But you still have to... you still have to, put this in. Halfway through? But, like, just... like, this is definitely going to be one of the very few wrist devices. I'm not going to... oh, yep, I already sprayed it. That's unfortunate. Yeah. It's just... okay. Yeah, this is literally a backpack strap. So I think this is definitely one of those where you probably would want to modify it. But... yeah. So there you have it. Yeah, I might have to cut this off, unfortunately, but yeah, it's kind of a mess to put on, but once you have it on, it's solid. But the thing is that I don't even have batteries. No, just didn't even put batteries in it yet, so okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to cut this off because it's literally I don't know, I might have to have my sister or so help me with just just yeah, I'm kind of confused with how this is supposed to work. So I thought this would have been easier, but okay. So then strap will stay like so. Hello, Dark Barcode Warrior. So we have two phone sounds. So this is the ringing. And like, as you can tell, this thing's pretty loud for a phone. So don't put this up to your ear. But obviously, now to transform into Dragon Man, just simply load the pendant in to this slot like so, and then you want to push the pendant down while also sliding this section up just for extra secure, just so then it actually clicks in. The thing is that it doesn't like it's not like you're going to see this piece at all unless you turn it around. Like this piece is covered. So like again, it's like you can leave it in or you can not, or you can take it off, but again, more accurately, you're supposed to pull it off. But again, we can use the die cast one and just transform as such. This is the shorter transformation. Even though it might not sound like it, it is. So again, actually I'll leave that back in so then you can have the longer variant with this pendant. It did have the accurate Kaija Huti. It's just that the like Yeolong Kaija announcement wasn't like accurate technically. This is for the batteries. Because obviously that's not how it was done in the show. What is happening with the stream? I'm kind of confused with what's going on because now YouTube and OBS are being out of sync in terms of connectivity. So my bad about that. Hopefully having my mic on is fine. I'm just confused where YouTube is. Anyways, we'll continue as usual. I don't know if that's because a thunderstorm's gonna be approaching soon. I don't know if that's the reason why. But like YouTube is just not having it. So we'll wait it out a bit. Yeah, okay. I'm looking at the playback right now. It generally looks fine. So I don't know if it's just I don't know. Like I'm gonna continue. Like even though right now OBS is struggling for some reason, despite it being a black screen. Both like cause yeah, both platforms now are struggling. Which is kind of confusing. So let me go on stream. Like let me watch my own playback. Our latency is just pretty bad. So we're gonna continue because things seem fine right now. If I see another thing from the chat saying it disconnected and reconnected, then we'll look at it. Anyways, so one of the big things about this one to make it semi-premium is that if you hold down this button, first of all, I think I said we were going to do the short transmission for this one. Is it the insertion sound different? I don't remember. I have to do that to reset it. Anyways, so if you were to hold down the sound button, we get the BGM for the transformation. And then you can replicate it through it entirely. However, the sounds aren't really timed for this, so you kind of have to like do your own thing to fill in the time. So then the sound effects time with the BGM, which is why I'm essentially just talking over it. And as you can tell, it does that. The audio does adjust itself. So yeah, it's just the soul. That's just the one soul BGM track, and that is basically it for the Flame Dragon Summoner, which is pretty neat. Yep, YouTube on this is broken. So next up, this one also was also already open to begin with. So I apologize about that, but that's just how I got it received. That's just how it was received. We have the Ares Summoner, or this one is labeled as the Super Shura Summoner. This is the transformation device for Armor Hero Ares, the ultimate armor for Armor Hero XT, as you can see from here. This box is kind of following a similar design that the release of this figure, Zreiken does have it, of the Armor Involved line is, because as you can see, this is the Legend of Armor Hero branding. However, this is actually a new release because this was released in January of 2025. It's just that the box is just really banged up. Because this did get this is a re-release of the 2023 version specifically, because its contents are now painted more prop accurately and such. So there you go with that, and I think this one the phone's kind of hard to take out. So kind of just have to push through, and there. However, there is extra content. Well, not necessarily. Well, there is, but the instructions. This is essentially a reprint, I think, of the 2012 version. Like with the Flame Dragon Summoner, we have inserts for standards and such, which I think I was only supposed to get one, but two got included. And I don't know if this was a bonus in regards to the 2023 one, but we got a poster of Armor Hero Ares, which is pretty neat. It's a pretty neat poster. Like, obviously, like, I think without that poster, I'll definitely have said this box is unnecessarily large, but I guess it's neat. And I think it's also because the original toy was released like this, too. or it wasn't a box size like this. So again, my instructions were just located down there. Alright. So picking this up first. I also got batteries with this one. So thank you, Superbuy, or whoever, the person that inspected this one. I forgot your name, but I do thank you a lot. And when I originally did open this. The batteries I did use, I'm going to use with the next item. So, when I did originally test this, when I got it. So, shouldn't have done that. Oh, whoops. Yeah, the screw for this one goes in really deep. Which, I don't know why. But it does. But anyways, here's the... I don't know what they exactly call this. I'll get in the review. But as you can definitely tell, like, they definitely did their best to make it more prop accurate. As to the best of their ability. And then... This is definitely interesting that, like, they put the company mark on the sides. Like, that's interesting. For sure. I guess just to not sacrifice the design on the bottom. But this is also a really interesting phone toy, because this is the first phone toy where it doesn't fold in all the way back. It's permanently with a curve, which is really interesting. Obviously, because of this post here, it does click, but that's just so then, that's just for this track that it's already in. So there's the screen, which obviously is not show accurate, but obviously they need to do this so then kids will know what to press. And then speaking of pressing, here's the number pad, which is essentially just 4 elements and a bunch of symbols. Again, I've not reached this point in XT. And then this is the actual, like, wrist gauntlet for it. This thing got a big upgrade in terms of paint because now the inside's actually painted black. This was just unpainted previously. And again, this is another wrist strap. To which, yeah, so this works. See, so this basically is this, but like actually permanently attached. Like, obviously they can't do that with this one because of obviously how this one works, because they put this on their wrist. Oops. They put this on their wrist, and then the band forms. This one already appears on your wrist. So and it seems like this one is not as wide as the other one, luckily. But you know, need to do it so then it doesn't actually so then it doesn't feel tight on my wrist. So yeah, there's the gauntlet. This is for a combination. So again, you hold that in like so. and then you stick it in, and Taija Huti, which is pretty interesting. Oh, whoops. Like, the way you take this in and out of this gauntlet is pretty interesting. Like, the fact that you do have, like, they do give you, like, oh, whoops. They do give you, like, oh, it was, yeah, it was like that. Yeah. They do give you multiple options of how you insert this in. So you can either just do the traditional way and just simply, like, slide it in fully as a whole. But as you can see from here, there are, like, square, like, half square divots. And then there's also those same squares hit there. So you can't just simply fill those gaps in and then push it in like so. It's not as satisfying as fully sliding it in, but I think they did that. I don't know why they decided to do that, because it definitely is easier of pulling it out. Oh jeez. But, like, again, I think it's more fun. It's more fun sliding the entire device in, even though it is the same exact thing. Because I think doing it the smaller method is clicking it in, which is why it locks in at a specific spot. But again, you can also just simply watch it in, and then do you play like so, and then slide it out. Or you can just press it in, and then just lightly press it in, and then, like, take it out. So, anyways, this definitely has an interesting activation sound, as you have accidentally heard. So I'll just, the speaker is also, the LEDs in the speaker are here, so it's a really tiny on and off switch. So yeah, the activation for this thing is just it ringing. And then once you fold it out, you can press all 6 of these buttons. They all do the same. They all cycle through 3 sounds. This button is really, for some reason, it's the hardest one. As you can tell, I'm pressing it down, but you really have to press it. All the other ones, though, are fine. And then again, if you want to actually see. And then you can load it in right away. But you're not going to get anything out of it. So, obviously, to transform into the Ares armor, you want to do the first combination, which requires you to press the fire, wind, and thunder elements, and then the enter key. And then simply load it in, like so. So there, we are transformed to the Ares armor. And we can do that same, you can technically do that same button combination again. but it just plays the sounds of those elements. So basically, you have to quickly, like, it's not like the Leon cellular where it actually will know when you close it in. You kind of have to do it on your own, like, so then you can actually see the LEDs and such. So I think this next one, which are basically primarily the weapons, we want to press thunder, wind twice, and then this is the only combination where you press this in because of a specific gimmick. I'll do that again. I messed up. So. I'm sorry. Whoops. So basically what happens when you press a combination of 3 buttons that don't actually do an actual combination, it will just play the sound effects of those buttons. I did not realize this is going to be so hard. You can press the same button as long as you do the combination. Okay, I guess I did mess up. I keep just showing this off poorly, but basically, yeah. So this button protrudes to press this black platform in. So then you can do that. But that's the only combination you can do that. Now we are going to summon the claws by pressing win 3 times and then enter. Oh. Go say green. Hello. Yeah, it's a really cool device. So now we are summoning the spear, which is lightning, darkness, and then enter. And then the claw is fire, darkness, and then enter. So then we're gonna summon. Then we're gonna combine this. No, this is not the spear. This is the sword. This is the Purgatory sword. This is the Purgatory dagger or knife, and then the Purgatory claw, from what I remember. Now we're gonna combine the sword and dagger together to become the spear, with doing darkness 3 times and then enter. And that is basically it for this thing. So, again, we do the transformation again. We would just do those combinations again without interference, so... And then it's kind of quiet. It's not as loud as, it's definitely not as loud as yeah, like this is definitely louder as opposed to oh jeez. Luckily, you can cancel that, but wait, I was doing so. Did I already? Yeah, did I already do this one? The clicks are nice though. Yeah, so I know it's saying like Shura for like everything it's saying, but like other than that, or like obviously this one's Shura Blade. Well, yeah, of course it's Shura. Yeah, Shura Kaija Huti, and such. But yeah, obviously if you couldn't tell, like these are not show accurate. The sounds here are not show accurate at all. This thing did not do any voice announcements in the show whatsoever, unlike the other XT devices. Because it was the characters themselves like shouting like Shura Kaija Huti and such. And it canceled out and such. Now the Shura, or like the Ares summoner did have like obviously it had phone sounds, but like not to the extent this had. Like you had like number pad sounds, but that was kind of it, because all the other sounds, because all it did then was just like lightning and such. But like, because again, like it just did that. So there was no like vocal announcements for this device at all. But other than that, you know, because they are doing the XT is getting a CSM treatment, I'm not gonna be surprised this thing is gonna be the next one, because again, I'm pretty sure they're gonna do all the XT summoners because XT is pretty big. But yeah, I'm not gonna be surprised this one is gonna be, obviously this one's gonna get that treatment. And honestly, this one I think is probably pretty deserving of getting it and such, just because like it's really easy. Also, like I think the thing too is that like, so obviously this thing can do bow mode, but I'm pretty sure these here are supposed to be for the claw mode, because I think these come out and like become claws. But obviously I get why that there's no claw mode. But like other than that, like this is either getting the 2023 or the 2025 version of this version is like really solid, especially if you're just going for in terms of appearance and such. Like this looks really sharp and complete, and just overall, I think this thing does have the same functionality as the other XT summoners. Obviously, instead of using cards, you're inputting the like the technique. Even though for the most, or I think most of them were weapon summons too. So, and obviously Ares does not have the ability to evolve or to Shochi. Basically, he doesn't have the ability to evolve, obviously, because he's the final armor of the show. So of course, he would not have that ability. But last but not least, we will take a look at this one. I actually wanted to get alongside the Captor Summoner originally when we did this, but Zrykin ordered more than I was anticipating, so it kind of went over the budget. But we actually have the Summoner for the series prior to Star Ray. We have the Hunter Stallion Summoner. This one's interesting because this is the first summoning belt in 2 series that is gimmickless and such. It practically is gimmickless because even XT's summoners do have gimmick. They have trinkets. This one doesn't. So, this box is really cool, and it's really light too, surprisingly. I really do like the box designs they went for with Hunter. Season 1 specifically, because Season 2 barely had toys from what I can see. So here we have Hunter Stallion. And then we have the back right here telling us everything we can do. So this one was the only one that 2022 release. So that means they still do reprint the Hunter toys. But at least Season 1 because again, Season 2 barely has toys. Season 2 didn't even get deluxe figures. Or like deluxe like summoners. This if anyone was curious, but so what's funny with jeez, I can't take this out. Oh jeez, okay. So what's funny about this is that obviously this is a fad that no longer exists, but this basically is kind of what indicates the transformation. Is that if I were to put this on my wrist, this is a slap band. Which is, wow, that was the most fluid a slap band went on me. Like, honestly, it's pretty cool. Obviously none of these are show accurate, because like this actually, like, they tapped this for it to actually like do its own thing. And then here's the actual summoning belt. Yeah, this one's a lot more smaller than, yeah, this is really tiny compared to the show. But it's so much thicker than I was anticipating. But this one, I was actually really interested in this one in particular because of how they handle the straps. So let me put this box in correctly. Oh, yeah. This definitely was... Yeah, so this... Was it... I don't think it was inspected, but it definitely was... I don't know, because... Okay, so there was bands that it was supposed to be stuck on, but they were already cut. So, let's compare the prop belt and the toy belt, because this is severe. So, as you can see from the prop belt, there's a lot more blue that is present, and there's red too. Oh, and then you look at the toy, the blue is so disproportionately smaller. But yeah. But green slap bands were like so 2016. But green, following what Bandai should having to take notes on, the belt straps. So this is really interesting with how this works. I thought this was supposed to be a separate piece. Oh no, it's actually hinged onto there. Okay. So this is the belt strap. And as you can tell, the belt cover is this side is looped onto this, but then you get this side right here. So the way this works, I think I should have looked at the instructions actually, but I assume this side is the right, this is the left side. And like what's interesting about these straps too is that this is like rubber, or like not rubber, but like it's like pliable. Obviously, it's probably the most pliable we've gotten. Unfortunately, though, the caveat is that they if you want to take them out, you have to unscrew the entire summoner. So we will do this once. So, okay, well, yeah, obviously what helps you is that there's divots right there. So you press these in to lock the belt in. And then from this point, you can adjust this. You can adjust the belt like an actual belt by holding these down, and then like, because there's these divots right here like a normal belt, and then you just adjust it like so. Yeah, it's every rider belt before 2010. But like honestly, like the fact this works like a belt, like an actual belt, is pretty interesting. Like obviously, if you want to, like, if you want to hear that, you can. But I thought because it's such an interesting way of adjusting the belt. Like obviously, it's still not gonna fit me. Yeah, it's not gonna fit me at all. But like, it's still pretty cool with what they were able to do with this. But yeah, now we have to actually, I want this off now, so I'll have to do it again for the review. So cuz like I mean like I appreciate it, so then like if you do display it with the belt strap, it's not going to like be stuck in place. I just have to be careful with this cuz like I have to state this, but with the Flame Dragon Summoner, I actually had to open that one up because when I was testing it, it wasn't actually, the sounds weren't playing properly when I was doing this and such. And I took a picture and I'm gonna share it in the review. But like basically the contacts were not hitting the board fully, so I had to like bend them back in, so then it would do so. Sorry, this is off camera. I'm gonna have to do this 3 times, 4 times. I have to do it for the review and demo. No, yeah, I'm gonna have to do it for the or that'll be 3 times. Well, I don't know. I have to do it for the review. I have to do it for the demo. Then I have to show this off. Then I'm gonna show it off to Zragan when he comes back. I think I got all the screws now, so okay. Yeah, I don't, why is this falling on me? But I mean, cause we can spoil with how this actually works, but I don't want to. So yeah, just try to be as careful as can with this. I don't. Again, this is kind of the only disappointing thing. Is just like I kind of would have preferred if they didn't make you have to do this, especially with how this belt is, or the summoner is. I was just watching a video on it again, just because. But it doesn't help this one's more weightier because of its back piece. I need a flat head. Because I need to press the button in. So then it just unlocks. So honestly, not as bad as I need the Phillip head. Not as bad as the Kabuto Zector, like the Gattac Zector. Because these things are actually at least pressing. But just kind of tedious is all what it is. Luckily, the screen is not touching the surface, so we're fine. Obviously, the issue of doing this repeatedly is just the risk of scraping the screws, but I think they made it. Obviously, I think these toys have to make it so that these screws are durable enough to not having to risk that being a problem. But I can't get this one on. So again, this one requires 3 AAAs. So I will. These were the 2 I used to test these because I didn't want to. I waited to open the batteries for this stream. But now there's black plastic on here. Why is there black plastic just on here? But I think the last thing I want to say about the belt straps is just of like well, let's put it to there. Like, I think especially compared to the Captor belt straps, they're definitely again, the only thing that's like backwards is just not having the ability to remove the straps at your own will. But like other than that, like that's not what I wanted to do. Like the length is the same and such. So, well, again, I just have it extended like that. But yeah, if I have it like extended like this, the length is the exact same. But it just is pretty neat that, well, to an extent, like, you know, this belt is pretty. It is pretty innovative, but obviously it has its caveats. Maybe again, if they've actually incorporated an eject button, a button to remove the strap, then it probably would have been like this. Probably could have been a direction they stuck at, but nevertheless. So, Again, we actually have to open this up first. Because this is technically... This is a lot more solid than I was expecting. Oh, that's why. That's a really interesting way of them closing in. Okay, it's on a hinge system. That's cool. This works on a hinge. I thought it was just like a stick. You know, I thought it was like, you know, a solid stick and you just simply slide it in. That's why it's satisfying. Wow. Okay. That's cool. But, let's turn it on. So we get horse login. Oops, I forgot. So, I think we have to technically transform right away, so. Because then why else would we not close it in? So let's just... Yeah, again, that's kind of the unfortunate thing with stock bands. Just trying to figure out how to organize them. So, yeah, this doesn't work right now because we have to close it in and press all 4 of these buttons in. You can hear the panels. This thing is so loud. So yeah, there's the transformation for Hunter Stallion. Not show accurate at all. But we can press these and... Oh, okay, so you can't just... Oh, you can't. You can press them. You have to wait for the panels to slide in. You have to wait for the panels to fully load in, and then you can actually, like... Oh, okay. This thing is so loud. So this is... is this... Yeah, this is the first weapon summon. So if we were to press these two, as you can hear the panels. You can do that again. And then press the other side for the other weapon summon. And then, what's the last one? The top two? Alright. So like Hunter Stallion... I mean, it's just a kick. But it's saying Mashroy. Like, Mashroy? Yeah. Doing the bottom two won't do anything. Yeah. Doing that won't do anything. Pressing 3 of them won't do anything. So, yeah. Do I have this upside down? I think got the wristband upside down. That's funny. Okay. Okay. So no. Okay. Okay. Then I was just wearing it wrong. So you have to wear like this. Ow. Ow. Yeah. So you have to wear it like this then. Huh. Because you have to have your. You have to connect it like this. But obviously, like, you don't need these. You don't, like, these are not required to, like, be in or out, but it's just more, obviously, it completes the look more and such. But, like, yeah, other than that, like, this is definitely one of the chunkier ones. But, like, I'm surprised it managed to be the same. I think the volume is the same as the Star Race Summoner. Lanka. Taija. Yeah, this thing is loud. Ting Yao. Okay. Oh, what? Just also wanted to show that I get this last month, I think, from Toe Collectibles, just because I already got the other one. I'm gonna open, just so the next month's stream is more plentiful, I'll try to figure out how to open these two. Also, I don't even know what happened to the box of mine. It was not like this. It's not. It's not straight anymore. Unless it was always like this. Alright. But I think that has to do with this. Let's yeah, this is definitely one of the louder toys I own now. But well, I can do that again, right? I don't know, like this one, it's a lot more fun actually having it in hand. Cause like I think it does look cool, but I kind of figured like, oh, like I was kind of afraid it was gonna look, or it was gonna be kind of unimpressive, just because of it being restricted to like 5 sounds. But yeah, there's like 5 panels to this thing essentially, because we don't have this panel and such. But like, I kind of wish there was more combinations, because there's more combinations you could have done. Like, I think it's weird that $10. This release I know for sure was like 18, like 17 to $18, because I really wanted to get a cheaper listing for this one, because this one was a newer release. It was, I think, 20. I think this one was 24. And now thinking back, but I think this one was always like 20. It was around $20. So the XT stuff kind of are a bit more expensive, or they kind of get in the more pricier range. Like XT and Captor tend to sell for like $23, $24, which I think wasn't too bad. This one, however, is the most surprising, which is why I'm not too... I think it's just, I'm more impressed with what it does for its price. Even though it's probably just because of it's on a heavy discount, but this entire set was only for $12. $12 for essentially something in the tier of a Legend Rider, or the Legend Rider Henshin Belt series, is pretty stellar. This and Hunter Aquila. You can get their 2 summoners for $12 a piece. Jackal and Alphonse don't have DX counterparts. They have... Theirs are literally just really cheap. Like, their stuff, I think, makes sense for being, like... I think Jackal and Alphonse, their summoning devices make sense of being at, like, $12 and such. But for Hunter, Stallion, and Aquilia to be, like, for their stuff, or, like, because for their essential DX stuff for being $12, that's a steal. Which is why I wished I initially got this back in March. So then this could have been, like... But, like, you know, I have it now. And it's really interesting. Again, just kind of would have wished it wasn't so puny. Like, the small size factor is really... It's so interesting, but, yeah, that's kind of it for this stream. Yeah, okay, so the bit rate just a little bit. Again, so ironically, it's just Lava. Obviously, Lava is like the one series I don't have something of. But in XT, it's just the final device. But I think again, out of the, I think they all have their own merits and such, for sure. I think it's the Flame Dragon Summoner that I'm definitely... I think it's the more, or that I kind of jive with more. Even though it does less, but again, I think it's just because it worked. Again, that's what happens when you transform with it right away and not try to time it with how it's done in the show. Sorry that you heard that. Like, this one's really fun. But like, what happens if you turn this on in here? Because I think you're supposed to be... You're supposed to do that when you turn it on. Like, did I mention that how tight this is? Like, it is really tight, too. It is really tight dealing with this, but I feel like mine is getting looser a bit. But, yeah. I think it was only going to be, this one I was actually going to put up a YouTube short for, but, like, all three of these I will demonstrate on Twitter. I'll do Twitter videos for, just cause. Honestly, like, cause this is, like, I think this, for this case, I really do like the sounds the show has more. So it's kind of unfortunate that the toy version is just wrong. Like, the horse, obviously the horse sounds are cool, but like, just the in-show transformations for Hunter had like a consistent rift that each character had, or like they had a consistent rift that played, and that is in this toy. It's just that unfortunately it's the entire scene ripped, like the audio of that entire scene ripped into this toy, and it's so unfortunate because it makes the hunter characters having unnecessarily long sounds. But they're at least show accurate. And then obviously if people forgot, obviously we have the Zero original brace. So we'll just go through them again. It's just funny that we went from like I was gonna say we went from like really quiet toys to like really loud toys, but I mean, again, that is kind of in between. Honestly, I think the Flame Dragon Summoner is like volume I would prefer. But kind of sucks that taking this out blocks the speaker. So you have to be quick about it. Lutian is using like the generic sound they would typically use for like a. I mean, like I think that is it universal for both Ultras and Kaijus? But other than that, like again, this thing is fine. This thing is fine. It's just unfortunately like Bandai China just never really bothered following up on it, which is my pet peeve because it's just like I wouldn't have mind to have instead collected this series, like this series of a line, as opposed to, you know, rather than doing like the currently running series, because again, like it's cool that like Bandai China decided to do something fun for Zero's 15th, but they just didn't do enough. Like again, they literally could have done an entire like another Zero set comprising of Strong Chrono Zero, Luna Miracle Zero, Shining Ultraman Zero, and Zero Beyond. like I feel like that's not hard of doing, and then doing another Zet set and such. Like I mean, I would have at least just appreciated like more than 2 sets, because this is practically like, for like a normal Ultraman line, this is practically like the first week of stuff that they put out, and they only have stuck with that. So it's just kind of unfortunate and such. And like, you know, they could have done an entire Trigger set, an entire Decker set, and then they could have done a Blazar set with Trigger Truth and Trigger Dark, I guess. Just because Blazar doesn't really have much. I think it's good at Thunderstorm now, so. But like, you know, they also could have done like I already explained Zet. Honestly, like I think like from Zet, I feel like Zet, Trigger, Blazar, Zet, Trigger, Decker, Blazar, and Arc, like, cause they've already like if they went through the effort of doing Arc, then it's like then then go back and do like Zet, Trigger, Decker, and Blazar. Like if it was at least just those, I would have been fine. Like I don't need them to do like the other new generation heroes again, or like I'm pretty sure Powered was programmed to this, but you know, I don't need them to do the Ultra Brothers or stuff like that. Like I think just focus on Zero, Zet, and then like, you know, Zero, and then like series from Zet through Arc. I think I would have been fine with that. Maybe do Atrocious too if you've already done Belial, but like again, I don't need every single Ultra, but it's like, you know, I at least cater to Zet, Zero, and Zet. This is funny. Okay. Which one of these two are better? Whoops. Other than that, again, these were, at the end of the day, all of these are really inexpensive pickups. None of these exceeded $30, or I'll say $25 individually. Like obviously collectively, yeah, they do accumulate to like $100. But I mean, like I think it's like a well worth $100 assortment of things and such. But like I said before, watch out for this next month. I think it will be the second week of things though, because of it not being tied to new generation stars. It would be funny if this got released for new generation stars, but again, they already did the ultimate bracelet and such. So yeah, like again, it's such an interesting item. It's a really interesting item. That like it honestly looks more like a ship. But obviously like again, it's just a plasma zerolet that actually reads ultra metal adjacent stuff. And I mean, yeah, there's not necessary. And also, again, I feel like I need to at least pick up something Bandai China related, especially in regards to Ultraman, because they have a lot in their catalog. But like, also at the same time, like continue our adventure at filling out Armor Hero, our Armor Hero coverage occurring in August. Because next month's stream will be a continuation of that, as I said before, as we will cover 4 more items that should be able to complete our coverage. To which I've already said before, unfortunately, Lava will be excluded from this coverage because Lava I want to collect all the main stuff for. So, as opposed to these ones where they're mainly one-offs, like Hunter could have technically have gotten 2 toys worth of stuff, but like I've only just want to settle and such. XT was one I actually was kind of thinking like, oh yeah, I might as well get all 4 summoners and such, but it's like I would rather just settle on this one, especially because Mars and Arrow's summoners are not on par with Giant or Ares' summoners in terms of being actually painted fully. So I'm gonna wait or I'm not gonna wait because Dragon said he actually wanted Mars' summoner. So I'm gonna make him wait and see if we will get a newer release for Mars and Arrow that are actually painted on par with Giants. And then I don't think they will release individual versions for Eagle Man, Rhino Man, Tiger Man, and Massive Man. And I don't have plans on getting the Emperor Hero belt because it's not really one of my favorites. And it also just only does 2 sounds, despite it actually being painted properly. This one, I think, is more... Like, the thing, too, is that, like, the Emperor... Again, the Emperor belt... The Emperor Hero belt is also sold for, like, the same price as this. Like, $23. But, like, it's just not really, just not... Emperor Hero is not really one of my favorites. So, yeah. I think it might be more of a things Riken will pick up. But yeah, again, thanks to everyone that actually came in briefly and just, commented. I appreciate you showing up and such. So, that will have to do with this stream. To which I will see if ending the broadcast will actually do something. Also, it's just because this seems to be struggling. Yep, it's overloading, so we'll stop it from here.